thank you for all our sponsors who made it possible to have an event this big, an event with all the things we have going on over the course of the weekend, all the support to our participants. I mean, I had an incredible time, and I hope all the participants would agree. This was just an awesome weekend. Now, I'd also like to, once again, I did this at the kickoff, I'd like to go down the list of the schools who were here this weekend. We have an awesome list. We had representation from Carnegie Mellon, Columbia, Cornell, Dartmouth, Drexel, ETH Zurich, Fordham, Harvard, Johns Hopkins, Kent State, Lehigh, MIT, New Jersey Institute of Technology, NYU, Penn State, NYU Poly, Princeton, Rochester Institute of Technology, Rutgers, Salisbury, Stanford, Syracuse, Temple, UC Berkeley, UCLA, University of Buffalo, University of Maryland, University of Michigan, 40 to 50 of them, University of Pittsburgh, University of Toronto, University of Virginia, University of Waterloo, University of Texas, University of Wisconsin, USC, Westchester University, William & Mary, and Yale University. So a very solid list of schools coming out this weekend. Now, just want to mention, after these demos, we'll have a break in which our judges deliberate. Some of our sponsors will be giving brief, talks about their companies. After which we'll have a showcase of the top 20 teams for 45 minutes to an hour in the adjacent 3 rooms of Irvine outside, where the teams will set up and they'll have a chance to demo, and everyone here in the audience can kind of talk to the teams, see the demo kind of closer in person, and get a chance to impart any thoughts you have. With all that said, just going to go through the logistics of the demos. We're going to ask teams to keep their demos to about 2.5 minutes, and we're going to give our judges 2 minutes of Q&A time with these teams. When you present at the beginning, make sure you say your name, your school, and your school. And the criteria by which teams will be judged, for those of you who didn't hear this earlier, are creativity, technical difficulty, polish, and usefulness. So kind of spanning the scale of all things technical. So with that said, I'd like to thank our judges for being here. So first of all, I'd like to thank the judges who helped select the teams from the 100 or so, 110, I think maybe 120 that were participating total, and brought it down to our list of 20. So going down our list of awesome judges, we have C.J. Taylor, Associate Professor of CIS here at Penn. We have Brian Kirk, co-founder of Technically Philly. David Brusson, founder and CEO of Monetate. Brendan McCorkle, co-founder and CEO of CloudMine. Scott Becker, VP of Enterprise Products at Schrodinger. Elliot Menchik, founder and director of VentureForth. James Smith, partner and program director at Tiger Labs. Bert Navarrete, GM and managing partner at Tiger Labs. Dan Gettleman, co-founder at Lore, and Corey Levy, co-founder and COO of One. And our final round judging panel, who are sitting right here and will be doing Q&As with the teams and helping select our winners, are Daniel Bruzalowski, founder of Teens in Tech Labs. Karthik Hosanagar, associate professor here at Penn, and as well as investor of and co-founder of Yodel, and investor in many Penn Penn-founded companies. We have John Biggs, who's a editor of TechCrunch. We have David Packman, who is a partner at Venrock. Josh Koppelman, who is a partner at First Round Capital. And finally, we have Jack Abraham, who is the director of local at eBay and founder of Milo. So, thanks to all our judges for helping select the best teams possible to win. And with that, we're going to go ahead and start our demos. So the first team up will be Artichoke, and on deck will be Astoria and Better Off. Right here, we'll have your timer. So.
That's on. Oh, I will. Give it. Hello, my name is Otto Sipe, and this is Matt Neiser. We are from the University of Michigan. Yep, that's right. We brought 40 people out, which is freaking awesome. But as you can see, this is Artichoke. This is a collaborative text editor. What am I doing here? Go bigger. There it is. All right. So I'm going to invite my friend Matt Neiser to come work with me. Yeah. All right. My IP is that. So if you would, please don't troll us. This doesn't handle more than like a couple people. So please don't go to that IP. But as you can see, Matt's about to join here. But before he does, I'm going to go over a few of the things that this does. Basically, you can edit with N people. I'm going to get a little video chat going, too, while we go. I'm going to allow that. That's kind of cool. So the whole idea here was peer-to-peer editing. A lot of times you're working on a project. This whole project, we work next to each other. And it was like, God, I wish we could just be using what we're building right now so we could actually be running the same source code, save it to Dropbox, and then just run it from our command line. And that's exactly what this does. So this is built in with Dropbox. When I logged in, I can go to localhost here. Wrong port. And basically, this is the home page here. You create a namespace, and then this takes me to my namespace. This pulled it from my Dropbox, and basically what I can do here is I can edit with multiple people, and you can see Matt's kind of floating around there. So basically, it says sessions, videos. You can have multiple sessions with different people that don't interact with each other. That was a big thing to do. That took a long time. You can open Dropbox files, save, delete. We also have key bindings, like Command X takes you to the file path here. So I can say file new.js, boom. And then Matt can come edit this with me if it works. Hello there. You in here, Matt? You want to type? At least to prove it to you that we're typing. There we go. So that's Matt. And we get to see each other's cursors, which is kind of cool. So that's him. It looks like we have a zombie cursor hanging out. So if I refresh this, that might go away. Maybe not. So da-da-da-da-da. And then it would be kind of cool if we could show you both. But basically, it syncs text between two people and saves it to your Dropbox. And you can open stuff. And it's awesome for working together. So hopefully within a few weeks, we'll have this up on Heroku. It runs right now, but Now.js doesn't like Heroku. So we promise we'll have it up and running on GitHub too. So thanks, guys.
Hey guys, Q&A.
Nice job, guys. Really cool. Are you doing any right here, sorry. Are you doing any collision detection? You know, looking to
To briefly describe the architecture, we have both collaborators or end collaborators. Really, it scales pretty nicely. But The collaborators all have their own version of Dropbox backing up all their files, and the browsers just kind of do all the communication in real time, and that's done with WebSockets and things like that.
And also, it's based on Node.js, and also the editor that we use is Ace Editor. It's an open source editor that helps us with the eventing and the highlighting. But yeah, to answer your question, we actually don't have any collision detection. But it's really fast, so that's we kind of beat most of the collisions. But sometimes we have trouble if I reload a file, it'll kind of wipe his out. So we've got a few bugs to work out with the events and stuff.
But all the cursor, we had to synchronize all the cursors and all the text getting put between them, and then save them to Dropbox. That was definitely a challenge.
What did you build this on?
Node.js.
All right. Great. Thanks, guys. All right, so Astoria, you guys are up. Just a note, for teams coming up, during the Q&A, if the next team on deck can come set up, that'll make things go a little more smoothly. So Better Off, you're on deck, and Cartesia, you guys will follow.
Is there audio?
Test.
Is there audio?
Okay, I think we're ready. Hey there, we come from MIT. My name is Anvisha, this is Josh, Thomas, and Max, and we're excited to present to you the best app for lazy people, Astoria. So we decided that we're too lazy to drive and actually experience our city firsthand, and we also wanted Grand Theft Auto for Street View. So we got together and we built Astoria, which is an immersive app using Street View, and it has data streams from Twitter, SoundCloud, as well as Yelp. So you can really drive around your neighborhood. Can everyone hear me, just to make sure? You can drive around your neighborhood, really get a feel of what's going on, as well as what people are talking about, maybe what to do on a Friday night, what property prices are like in case you want to move into the neighborhood, etc. And Max is going to walk you through the app now.
So while Josh loads it up, I'll talk to you exactly how the app works. So the app is built on Node.js. There's two components to it. There's the main website that you see up there, and then there's the mobile endpoint, which Josh has on his phone. Everything starts by Josh, the user, scanning the QR code on his phone, which connects the two via WebSockets. Josh's phone then becomes a controller for the app, and he can actually drive the car around on Google Street View by tilting the phone forward and turning it left and right like a steering wheel to turn left and right in the Street View. As you can see, there's a lot of markers being placed. Those are all coming in live from all the various APIs Anvisha described. So you can see in Boston, there's live tweets going on. There's Yelp with ratings of the Yelp locations that are being placed. And there's also property values that are brought in by an API called Zillow.com, so you can get a general impression. For example, if you're planning on moving to a neighborhood, what the how expensive houses in that area cost. So Josh is just going to drive around, and one of the biggest things, I guess, is the fact that we also have a radio, dashboard radio, to simulate the car experience. That's what Anvisha was talking about when it mentioned SoundCloud. So if Thomas can get the sound working, you'll hear music that's specifically catered to the region that you're in. So it'll either play music by artists from that area or music containing a keyword with that area. And you can also cycle through stations by clicking a button on the mobile web component of it. So I don't think that mic is working, but. So you can cycle through the stations, and it'll display it at the bottom. Josh?
So the app's actually live right now at astoria.joshvon.com. We're not too sure how well it'll handle under load, and we might be hitting our API limits by now from so much testing. We've already done it once. But yeah, so go try it out. We think it's really cool, and we think there's a lot of possibilities. We've structured every data feed as like its own modular sort of app. So you can just, it's really easy to extend it to any other data source. We were thinking of adding, so Instagram was something we added in the last 10 minutes, for example. And you can easily add in like Facebook posts, Foursquare chickens, and so on and so forth. Thanks. Questions?
Really cool. How do you change location? I thought with you taking a picture of the QR code, it was going to maybe look at the location of your phone, and instead of showing us Boston, would show us Philly. How does it know where you are?
So right now we've encoded somewhere we thought was scenic near MIT, but ideally we were thinking of adding such a search bar that would just go through Google and do the geocoding for you. But that's something I guess we didn't think was important yet.
There's also just not enough check-ins in most areas, other areas that we tried, like this locale, so it wouldn't be as populated with things to demo.
So what's the purpose of the QR code? Is it that the QR code fixes the location because you guys don't have a location-based service?
So the QR code syncs up the phone with the browser. So the way it works is the phone has an HTML5 mobile site, and so it's not an actual app. It's just, it literally opens a page for you, and that'll link it to this session ID, so multiple people can be driving different things at different times.
Is there any way to actually click into any of the information that's coming back to get more information, whether it's Yelp or the Zillow API?
Yeah.
Have you thought about how to make that interface work with the small screen on the phone?
Yeah, that's actually something we want to do. We ran out of time. We were thinking of using one of a sort of pointing device, since we realized that we're using some information from the phone, but not all of it, right? So we were thinking of having a sort of calibration system where you could just move your phone to where you want to point, do a tap, or a list view even, just to start off. But yeah, that's something we want to try out, but ran out of time.
Very cool.
Thank you.
So Betteroth, you guys are up now. We are moving Cartesia down a little later. So Cloud Sequencer, you guys are on deck, and then Face Wash, you guys will be next.
All right. Hello, everybody. I'm Jack. These are my teammates, John Fonte and Michael Huang. Together, we built Betteroth because passwords are not enough to protect your online accounts anymore. You see increasingly services such as Google and Dropbox are adding two-factor authentication support to their website. However, we're finding that a lot of this isn't being adopted just because it's not usable. They're token-based authentication, which requires you to generate a passcode, type in a passcode, and there's really no reason we have to be doing this anymore. We've got push notifications to handle this, so we built a proxy service. So we're gonna go through setting up two-factor authentication for Dropbox using our app and just show you what it does. So let's go through the get started. So it has a secret key stored in a QR code. We're going to scan it with our app. And it should automatically import a Dropbox account with passcode. The app will try to find an icon for the service. John, do you want to put it under there? It's a little blurry, but there is a Dropbox icon. I added a Dropbox account. So when we try to log into Dropbox, Sorry. So we've enabled two-factor authentication now. We're going to log out, log back in. We've just got a push notification on the phone that gives you the option to approve or deny by pressing a button. So if we hit approve, it should automatically have logged us back into Dropbox. Oh, sorry. One second, let's pull up Gmail. We've already added a Gmail account. And the best part is it should work with any existing two-factor service on the web. So, sorry. Yeah, we'd approve. Does it not work again? Oh. And it has logged us into Gmail. It's pretty fast, as you can see. It has already logged us in. Automatic. We didn't have to type in any token. It happened all in the background. Thank you.
Very cool. So in terms of the primary problem that you think that this solves for most users is just making their passwords more secure? Is it a efficiency and speed thing? Is this helping, how would you envision this being best utilized?
So the problem with most security products and adoption rate is based on usability. Users don't want to go through an extra step of typing in a 6 to 8-digit token after opening up an app and generating a token. We're trying to remove the barrier to entry by making it really easy. Just get a push notification, you pull down, hit approve or deny, and it'll automatically log you in to try to help adoption rate of two-factor authentication.
So what's the app that's getting installed on the phone to receive the push notification?
So the app is, we wrote it, it's the BetterAuth app. It pretty much acts like the Google Authenticator app where it does generate passcodes for you, but it also receives the push notifications. In the browser, we have a plugin installed that detects the presence of a passcode field to try to automatically send out a push notification to your phone to prompt you to approve or deny it.
And are you doing some form of protection on the communication between your messaging server and your app?
HTTPS.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
All right, so Cloud Sequencer is also asked to get pushed a little bit later. So Face Wash, if you guys are ready to come up. Face Wash is up, followed by Hamilton and Hot Cocoa.
Hello, everybody. Thank you all for being here, as if you had a choice. Just kidding. You can laugh, it's all right. If you hate my jokes, that's fine too. Okay, my name is David. This is Daniel and Camden. We are from Kent State University. Thank you so much for having us. It's an honor to be here. Face Wash is stemmed from the idea that we all use Facebook, and we generate a lot of content, and we generate a lot of likes, posts, photos, comments, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And this is all linked to us socially, publicly, to some varying degrees, but publicly. And so at some point in your life, you're like, okay, great, it's fun being a high schooler or a college kid or whatever. Maybe I want to get an internship or a real job. And those people might look at the things that I've been attached to across my life. Oh no, I don't have, right. I don't have all the man hours and energy to go through every single individual thing, find the ones that are bad, and get rid of them. So we're like, why don't we automate the process? Ba-ding-a-ding. And so we did. And so what the process is, we'll go to our demo. It's called Face Wash. Scrub those ugly things away. Okay, so Camden's logged in here. He clicks Start. We have a preset list of things that we consider negative to be connected to, such as bad words, concepts, drugs, sex, et cetera, et cetera. As you can see, excuse the profanity, it's all for professional use in this moment. And so, well, so it'll strip through, say you commented on this photo, you like this thing, et cetera, gives you a link on it, takes you directly to the post, and you can delete it, change privacy settings, whatever you find fitting for that moment. We also will allow you to enter your own words if there's something specific that you think needs to be contained that may not have been. So let's give that. And if you are clean, we let you know. So don't you fear. Okay, so let's do a quick user-generated. Let's do whatever you're feeling. Okay. So give a little search through here. Oh, yeah, someone's happy for him, and that's beautiful. Obviously, this is, we talked about use for negative things and whatnot, but it can be used for general search and through your things to find what you've posted about, maybe you want to maintain. That's the general idea. We want to help you get professional as fast as possible so you can promote yourself publicly and socially. Thank you so much. No? Oh, my apologies, one last thing. There's live things as well. That's huge. I can't believe I forgot it. And what you do is, let's say Daniel posts on Camden's wall, I'm having a fucking, great time at PennApps. And Camden's like, that's awesome, but what if someone hears that? Well, he gets an email from us that's like, dude, Daniel just said something that's kind of ugly. Scrub it away with us. And Camden's like, thanks, Face Wash, win. And it's happening right now. I know we're over 2.5 minutes. Waiting. Doom, 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 doom. And it's live on the phone. So you want to scrub that under that guy? Is that going or no? Can we, is this happening? Cannon. We found something that may need to be washed off your wall. And there it is. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Very cool. Do you guys provide an easy way for someone to just remove it all, or do you just share it with them?
That is the perfect question, and that's the question we had ourselves. Utilizing the Facebook API, we're able to access the content, but unless our application has generated it, we do not have permissions to delete it. We hope that in the future we would be able to, as a trusted developer, a user could give us the ability to use those credentials. But currently we're a 2-click system. We take you there and then you can delete it. That is something we very much would like to implement.
So I think I could use this tonight. A couple quick questions. Do you do anything with images? Do you do any image recognition? And second, in terms of what's going on at the back end, are you just matching words to a predefined dictionary of bad or negative words, or is there something else going on?
Okay, so in terms of image recognition, we of course, off the bat, we're like, we want image recognition, that's the key step, and that is the next step. In the time limit that we had, we implemented this and polished it off to make it work properly as a prototype. So image recognition is the next step. I know there are a lot of demos with like OpenTV and stuff, so we're gonna hopefully utilize systems like that, but at the exact moment, nothing.
And how about the words? Is it just matching? Or?
Yeah, we just have a main list of bad words that we got off GitHub, so it's like a social bad words list. But we hope to like gain knowledge from users across time and like pull in bad words or something that they want to add to the list or something, or maybe a word that you don't want to be on the list and you're okay with.
And you can give your own list of words. So, I mean, yeah, we open mic. Yeah. Did everyone hear that? Sorry.
You heard it? Okay, thank you. Any more questions?
Did you ever think about, and/or would it be possible to do this for all of your friends to see what they're posting?
That's exactly. We wanted to see, like, you can rate your friend. Sorry. We wanted to see you can rate your friends, like, how bad they are. That is something we're going to do, hopefully, in the near future. So.
It depends on the utilization of the API.
Yeah, it's an expensive call, you know, to go out to all your friends, but we will do it. That's coming up.
And one last thing, like instead of like not only just Facebook, we could hopefully do this across multiple social sites. So we could go through your LinkedIn profile and tell you like what needs to be updated for what people are looking for. But yeah.
If you want tech specs, this is Node on Heroku. We got ExpressNJ running on top of it. We've got MongoDB. Yeah, what's up, Mongo? All right. Cool, thank you guys.
All right, thanks guys. So up now is Hamilton, followed by Hot Cocoa, and then HTML5 Virtual Game Controller.
Mirror. Plus. One more, if I could. Hey, how's it going? I'm Shri. This is Daniel. That's Vincent. We are from CMU, Team Lambda. We built Hamilton. It's a graph visualization and manipulation system, web app, I guess.
So our feelings behind it was, you're a computer scientist and you take classes, you're probably going to run into some graph theory class. And if in your graph theory class, you're probably going to have to draw these nodes and edges and make a graph somehow. Say you want to do it on a computer because doing things on a computer is good and you can save it for later. The only way to do so right now is to write a text dot file, put it through a program called Graphiz, and it generates a static image for you. So that's all cool, but we thought that wasn't enough. Like, you couldn't take the graph and modify it, couldn't change it. So we built, we built Hamilton, which allows you to click and drag nodes, move them around, add edges, and do a lot of cool stuff that you can't do before.
And basically, the idea is that you have the same interface file, right? That allows you to define a graph. But once you define a graph, rather than having to go back to this file over and over to update it and make it look the way you want it to, you can just move the nodes and edges in real time on Canvas. And once you get somewhere you like, you just export it to a PNG, or you click a button and get a link to share with your friends.
Of course, sharing with your friends, that doesn't mean we are approving of cheating or anything, but maybe you're helping your friend out and you guys are working together. So the technologies behind Hamilton, on the back end we used just a really simple Python server that connects to a MongoDB database that stores all these links. If you wanted to deal with the interface, that was written with pure JavaScript canvas. We looked at some of the drag and drop libraries that are available, but all of them were too complicated and wouldn't allow us to make a unique interface tailored specifically to these graph applications.
Yeah, and so I guess, Vincent, you can go through a couple of things.
So one of the things that you can do is you can share your graphs when you create them by just clicking this link right here, right? And it gives you a link that you can just share with your friends. So Shri over there, maybe he's just working on some graph theory homework. So last night he sent me this graph, and it's super crazy. So I'm telling Shri, okay, you've got some nodes which are wrong here, and then I can edit them, I can save them, I can send them back to him. So yeah, this is Hamilton.
Thanks. If you guys have any questions.
Nice job, guys. What's the sophistication of the equation editor or the equation markup language that you're using for right here for importing existing graphs?
I'm sorry?
What's the sophistication of the equation editor or the markup language here to create sophisticated graphs?
Sure. So the markup language is actually a defined standard. It's the Graphiz dot language. So because everyone, it's something standard and it's been around for like 20 years, everyone kind of knows what it is. So we took a parser and parsed that to generate a JSON kind of representation that we can draw in JavaScript.
Is this lucrative for you guys? Do you think would one of you guys pay to use this?
So actually, we posted it on Facebook, and a couple of our friends already replied and said they're using it.
Okay.
So I'm quite impressed by that. I didn't think it was ready necessarily, but I think we would definitely use it, especially in graph theory class and that kind of stuff. But even, if you can imagine visualizing like large sets of data and the interconnections between them, I think that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, maybe add some more shapes. All right.
So you guys just demoed creating graphs manually, so small graphs. Can you guys automatically create really large graphs, like 10,000 nodes, and I just specify certain parameters of the graph?
Yeah, so one of the buttons that we had was a dot language importer. So if you could write it out in a dot file and just copy paste it in, we would generate it on our own. And hopefully our graph layout algorithm would be able to do that.
Right, so we don't currently have hooks to like actually, write scripts to create the nodes on the canvas. But if you can, if you can generate a valid dot file, then we can import it and we'll display it.
All right, up now is Hot Cocoa, followed by HTML5 Visual Game Controller, Virtual Game Controller, and then second on deck is Inventory. By the way, if you want to, if you have people back home who want to be watching this as well, we do have a live stream up. The URL for the live stream, we have a short URL, git.to/livestream13, git.to/livestream13. Also, we're number 2 on Hacker News in case you want to help us get to 1. Thanks.
Hey everyone, my name's Ari, and I'm currently taking a gap year working at a startup company in California, and next year I'll be a freshman at MIT. So I'm sure a lot of you here have made apps before, and so if you want to make a serious app, you probably want to be on both iOS and Android, because otherwise you're not going to reach all the people that you're going to want to reach with your app. So right now, that basically means that if you want a really solid app, you have to write it twice, and that's a lot of effort and a lot of time and maybe a lot of money. And so I was thinking that there could be a simpler way to do it. And I have been working for the past 48 hours on trying to port these iOS technologies to Android so that we can basically take existing iOS apps and recompile them to run on Android. So this is just the basic architecture of an iOS app, and this is sort of my progress in getting it working on Android. I was helped out a lot because some of this stuff is open source, which is very nice, but it was still very difficult to get working on Android. And I only have a little bit of the UI kit, which is what really gives the iPhone a lot of power in making really great user interfaces. So I have a brief demo that's very simple, because this is what I've got running right now. This is a iOS application with a couple rectangles, and when you click on the rectangles, they change color, and so does the background. And my Android emulator is hiding from me again. There it is. So this is the same application with the exact same code, the exact same class powering just everything you can see on the screen, running under the Android operating system. And there's a lot of stuff going on under the hood. There's threading going on, and there's all these different views, and there's a whole Objective-C runtime, and so it's pretty simple, but but it was very hard to get working. So I'm hoping that I can keep working on this and make it really easy to share code between iOS and Android apps. For me, I write a lot of apps, and that would help me out a ton because I would save so much time. And I'm really hoping that this is something that I can pull off, and maybe I'll make it open source, and you guys can help me out. So yeah, that's it.
Really cool. What were the input languages? I didn't hear. What can you author in?
So basically, the vast majority of iPhone applications are written in a programming language called Objective-C, and so that's what Apple's frameworks are written in as well. So that's what I was working with.
how will you handle user interface differences and UI, both Apple and Android both
Yeah.
have some unique sort of UI characteristics.
No, that's a really good question. I don't think that we really should be trying to have the exact same code running on both Android and iOS because, as you're pointing out, there's actually differences. There's different hardware buttons. When you have the same thing running on both platforms, the user experience probably isn't going to be as good as it could be. So I think the best way to do it is to share as much code as possible. And there's a lot of code that can be shared. There's a lot of stuff going on in the background, networking, all these things that you can share when you have these frameworks up and running. And then maybe you might want to make tweaks to the interface here and there so it's more native.
So I've seen a bunch of tools that help you port your iOS app to Android.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us a little bit about what's going on sort of behind the under the black box? What are you doing? What's different relative to what's out there?
Sure, yeah. From my experience, a lot of the existing solutions mostly involve writing your application in a different language. So you might write it in JavaScript, some HTML5 thing, or maybe there are other third-party toolkits. They're usually not quite so native. It's very difficult to get a really native application on both platforms. I've seen a lot of examples where people are unable to do that. And so mine is, I can show you all of my make files. This is real code running natively on Android, just like on iOS. It's not the same frameworks, but it's a re-implementation. So you're going to have the same functionality at the same speed, once it's all implemented.
Very, very cool, Ari.
Thanks.
Very technically ambitious. I'm going to have to dock you some points for taking some time off work to do this. That being said, I would like to know, so given what you've written so far, this is definitely neat clicking on the rectangles. It's a great proof of concept. How far exactly could you go with what you've written today? What are some other things you've thought of that you could use, using what you've written today, other applications, how far does this go?
Sure, yeah. What I have running is sort of a bridge between the Android Java environments, the UI part, and the Objective-C, Apple sort of environment. Because it took so long to get the runtime and the language and the libraries up and running, I didn't have time to implement quite so much of the UI. But I think just with the underlying frameworks, I could be saving things in the same file formats as on iOS because it's the same framework. I have frameworks in here for network connections and time zones and whatever you need to actually have a good framework to develop in. But there's a lot of stuff that you can do under the hood, sort of sharing code between platforms, even if you have a different graphical user interface.
Great, thanks.
Thank you.
Up now is HTML5 Virtual Game Controller from the University of Texas at Austin, followed by Inventory and Sky.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Austin Halleck. I'm a student at the University of Texas, and over the weekend, I built a virtual game controller for HTML5 games. And it's kind of funny that the Android to iOS port was sandwiched between two HTML5 apps. I guess that's just funny to me. All right. So a bit about HTML5 first. HTML5 is basically the new version of how you build the web. And with that comes a great new way to build games that work on any device. So games that work on phones, tablets, and PCs. So with that said, I personally think HTML5 is great for developing games, but there is one issue with it. Because you're developing for all these different devices, you're developing for phone, tablet, and PC, you have completely different input devices. So from PC, it's pretty easy. You have a keyboard, so you have a ton of input. On a phone or tablet, it's a lot different. You just have the accelerometer and touch. So as far as porting a game, you have to consider both of those input, or that's what you've had to do in the past. So that's what I was trying to alleviate by what I made. So what I developed was a library that any developer can use. They just add in this code to their game, do a single JavaScript call, and it'll bring up this gamepad UI. So this is just emulating standard keyboard presses, so they don't have to do anything besides this one JavaScript call, and it'll add in the features to move around, to jump, all sorts of things. So like I said, it's very, very simple to implement, but there's also a lot of complexity to it, so they can customize it as much as they want to. So they can customize how it looks, how many buttons there are, if they want joysticks or D-pads, quite a bit of customization. So I have been awake for, I think, 57 of the past 60 hours working on this, so other developers don't have to spend that time, because it is kind of a pain. If you want to port your game to a mobile device, HTML5 makes it easy where the game will actually run, but being able to play is a bit difficult if you want something like a Mario type game where you use the arrow keys to move. So I mean, here's the GitHub page like I was showing, and so anyone can use that. Here's a couple other games that you can see how it's customized. So this one just has 2 buttons on the bottom for left and right movement. This one has the joystick and then a jump button. 2 joysticks, 1 for movement, 1 for looking around, and back to the original game. Thanks for your time.
So I think that one of the big concerns about native versus HTML5 is lag and all of these things with HTML5. Have you noticed that with your game engine that you kind of reduce lag and make it feel as native as possible without it actually being native?
Right, so it's not a game engine, it's just the game controller. So being able to easily port from a PC game to a mobile game. But so I am co-founder of a startup that deals with HTML5 games called Clay.io, and there is a noticeable lag, so it doesn't feel native yet, but it is constantly improving, very, very much. So in the past year and a half, it's made leaps and bounds for getting a lot better frame rate, and you're starting to see games that do feel like native games on mobile web.
Does the library also allow for externally attached hardware devices as input, or just keyboard and touch screen?
It's just keyboard and touch, but they can do any sort of JavaScript calls after it, so there's a callback so that they can do whatever they want with that. So there is already an HTML5 gamepad API where you can actually plug in like a Xbox control and use that to control. All right, thank you.
All right, now up is inventory from UC Berkeley, and following them will be Sky and Skynet Command.
How do you focus this thing?
Okay. Are you just using the document camera?
Yeah,
or?
just.
Hey guys, my name is Richie. That's Vishal, that's Jin, and that's Nelson. And we're from Berkeley. So just a quick show of hands. How many of you guys have gone to school or work and realized that you left something really important at home? Come on, it's got to have happened to like everybody around here. So last Friday morning, before our flight here, I was in a super rush getting everything packed. And when I went to the airport, I realized that I forgot my contacts. So most people would think like, oh, that's terrible, but you know, us being the hackers we are, we use this for inspiration, you know, just to kind of solve a problem. So now we're here standing in front of you, blurry-looking people, and we're gonna talk to you about how we hacked a way to know what goes in and out of your bag, so you don't forget things and make stupid mistakes like that.
Okay, so this is Nelson, and unlike poor Richie here, he somehow managed to get the inventory app from the future. So he's busy packing to go to PennApps. And Nelson here, he's pretty unorganized, and he's packed so much stuff, he doesn't even remember what the crap he put in his bag anymore. So instead of having to rummage through his bag, he just pulls up the inventory app. And this shows him what is exactly in his backpack right now, what is in the main compartment, side compartment, and front compartment. Okay, so I think he's ready to go, but hey, look, there's a notification. So inventory has already checked the weather, and it's pretty cold outside. So Nelson, don't forget your jacket. Okay, cool. So I think he's all ready to go. So Nelson heads off, and once he's out of the house, let's simulate that by going out of Wi-Fi range. Hey, look, another notification. Missing item. Hey, Nelson, you forgot your passport. Okay, so, right. Now Nelson can go to PennApps safely.
So you're probably all wondering what manner of sorcery we've conjured up here. I'll let you know. Let's take a look under the hood. All right. This is a bit awkward. Where's the light? Yeah. Okay. Here it is. This is everything, really. It's an RFID reader with a built-in Bluetooth module and also indicator lights and buzzers. And if it looks a bit messy, that's because we cobbled it together last night. What happened was we spent all of Saturday morning and afternoon, Vaishal and I, chasing after FedEx trucks because they forgot to deliver our packages. And when we finally got them, half the stuff was missing. So, you know, like any good hacker would do, we would just roll our own. And it turns out that this is much more powerful than anything that we bought. So this RFID module here was kindly lent to us by the Detkin Labs here. So thanks to you guys. We couldn't have done this without you. And everything else we rated Radio Shack for, except for this Bluetooth module. So if you see here, this is also a hand-wound coil that I basically had to spend a couple hours just, you know, molding like Play-Doh, trying to get the right area and stuff. Okay, just to get it to increase the range.
And the way it communicates with the phone is that it pairs with phone using Bluetooth, and then we had a bunch of concurrency issues, but in the end, we had like some error correction, and it basically sends bytes from the RFID to the phone, and then the phone pairs the device, and we also have a menu where we can like register a device, but we didn't show that because like we're out of time. Okay.
Repair with it?
What?
Repair with it? Repair.
So I think this is pretty damn awesome, and I would pay you like $50 to have one of these right now. What's the range between your device and the phone? So like, how far can you go, you know, without, you know, forgetting something?
So yeah, this took a bit of fiddling, and it was actually yesterday was a very unlucky day for us. But the one lucky thing that happened was that the module they lent us was 125 kilohertz. So the lower frequency means that it's a bit longer range. So without the coil, it was about 2 or 3 centimeters. With the coil added, it was about 4 centimeters, which is perfect for the bag. We put it at the lip of the bag, and everything we put in there, if there's an RFID tag on it, it's within range. So it was perfect for us. Yeah.
So you could feasibly turn this on and have it know what's in your bag immediately as soon as you turn it on. Do I have to have it on for X amount of time, or is it just sort of a running inventory as soon as it's in there?
Yeah, it has persistent state, so it keeps track of what's inside your bag, and then and you don't have, and it just stays on.
Well, say I didn't power it up until I left the house. Would it know that I have 5 things in there immediately upon turning it on?
So the problem with a lot of RFID modules is that if there are multiple tags in the range, they won't be able to read all of them because basically all of them will be responding at once, and there's no way to sort of you know, de-scramble that. So if you had not powered it on before this, we wouldn't be able to determine that. But basically what happens is that we keep a state of what objects you have. So based on like how many times it's passed through, we know whether it's inside the bag or outside the bag. And then if it's been outside the bag for a long time, we'll assume you've immediately put it down and you don't have it on you anymore.
Mm-hmm. What are the power requirements for it?
A 9-volt battery.
How long does that last?
We've had it since around like 7 this morning, and it's still not dead yet, so not bad. But it's a 9-volt battery, so I mean, if it was lithium, it'd be a different story.
Does the so you have an app on the phone that's connecting through Bluetooth to the device, and does the app need to be always open, or how is it getting the notifications?
It can run in the background, so you get like toast notification. You get like little notifications every time things go in, and then if you actually open the app, you'll see little pictures, and then we also in the background it always like checks weather, and then when you disconnect from Wi-Fi, which is our way of
telling that you left a place, because when you sit down, connect to Wi-Fi, and then disconnect, that means you've gone somewhere, and then it looks for what was in your bag before, and then it reminds you.
It's fantastic, guys.
So much shit, man.
Now up is Sky from the University of Waterloo, followed by Skynet Command. And SmoothRide is up after them.
Cool. I'm really honored. Oh, hello. Honored to be here. I think what's great about hackathons is that it's this time we set aside in our lives where we do nothing but do what we're most passionate about, for in our case, 48 hours in a stretch. Unfortunately, ordinary life doesn't quite work like that. We have so many other obligations and tasks, and not that we don't enjoy them, they're not fun, but it's just so much more complicated if we don't have that unstructured time. So we've made an app to kind of help address that problem. The way it works, it starts out by importing a Google Calendar, so it kind of has a rough idea of where your obligations lie and what you have to do. On top of that, you import events, much like a to-do list, and it can help you schedule them around the events in your calendar, and also relative to each other. So this is a relatively naive front end to a very powerful algorithm we wrote that handles complicated dependencies between tasks, different priority levels, and everything that you might need if you wanted to use this to actually schedule your life. I've been inspired to do this just because, as a student, I have so many opportunities, but at the same time, so many obligations I have to fulfill. And I understand that the best way to be able to take the best advantage of what I have is to plan ahead, but I don't have time for that or the patience for that. So I made an app to do it for me. That's all I have. Any questions? Sorry, quick example. I totally glossed over this. For example, yeah, I would love to get 8 hours of sleep tonight, but I'm being told by the overlord it's not possible. 4 hours, maybe? Excellent. Okay, I can manage that. That's it. I had a question to shout out to the audience. What's our stack? Really heavy JavaScript front end running on Backbone. Back end serving assets through Rails, MongoDB, so totally web scale. And that's about it.
So quick question. So
Sure.
you can definitely read from this API. You're also able to write, and where would you sort of see this going? What are some use cases? Help me with some use cases where you think a lot of people might be using this.
Definitely. So, I think one cool way to look at this is it kind of flips procrastination on its head. So, for example, say you had a pretty complete schedule in here, all your assignments and tasks as a student, and then you said, hey, I want to go out tonight with some friends. It could tell you, like, yes, you can do that, but here are the physical ramifications. So instead of just kind of flying by the seat of your pants and finding out the next day that you actually had way too much work and you shouldn't have gone out, it'll tell you up front, like, actually, you're going to have to stay up an extra hour, or you're not going to be able to do this other thing you wanted to do. So for me, that's kind of one of the bigger use cases. But I imagine, in any environment, whether you're a professional, a student, or anything, if you could get this working, it's just a big load off your mind to not have to worry about whether everything's going to get done in time and not have to manually plan it all out.
Does it have some intelligence in it to know, does it look for something other than free time, or is it also reading what the appointments are and figuring out, oh, that's already dinner, you can't have dinner twice in one night, or you're already set to sleep, or is it just looking for gaps in the schedule?
It's a little more complicated than just gaps in the schedule. So things, as you saw with the sleep, can be categorized with tags, and those tags kind of hold the deeper logic. So tags kind of give things priorities, and also, we don't have it yet, but we'd like to define some more complicated rules around tags, such as, for example, you only want to have dinner once per night and things like that. But yeah, that's definitely a system that's in there, and we want to develop more.
Do you guys have plans to add friends so like you can, like I see in your calendar, traveling back to Waterloo? I'm assuming all 4 of you guys are going back, or 3.
We're leaving one behind, actually.
What was that?
We're leaving one behind, actually.
Oh, okay. So the 3 could you add the names, and everyone who's using this now gets it on the calendar, so it acts more like a calendar with invites and things like that?
Yeah, I would love to have that. And I think that would be amazingly useful in a workplace environment where, a manager could, not that this would, take away the job of a manager, but it provides so much more structure for them to see, these tasks can go to these people and they have free time, and even assign expertise based on tags. So I think there's so much potential for that. It's not something we've done, but I would really love to do it. All right, thank you very much. So just unplug this? Yeah.
All right, now up is Skynet Command from Penn, followed by Cloud Sequencer from Michigan, and SmoothRide.
So we have something slightly different for you guys today. We decided to take the hackathon and sort of apply our own knowledge to it and build robots. We decided that we really like the idea of controlling robots over the internet. We like the idea of being able to log in from anywhere and to be able to stream video from the robot, to be able to send commands over, from wherever you are, basically to a server, which then, go through a headless browser, which would then, talk to the file system, be able to talk to a local USB device such as the M2, which is designed by Jonathan Feeney here at Penn. It's basically a breakout board for 18 mega. Anyway, so the hack we made was we built a Millennium Falcon and a Star Destroyer, and we outfitted each of them with this little USB missile turret that we bought offline, and we drove them around over wireless, and we got to have them, fight. Unfortunately, we didn't really know that we were going to make the top 20 until about 5 minutes ago. So our fourth member, who has the Androids with the Jelly Bean operating system and the app and all that, isn't here. What we do have for you is a video of, on one side, he's controlling the Millennium Falcon over wireless from a computer, getting video streamed to the computer and sending commands. And I'm over on the other side with my little remote control that I have here, controlling the Star Destroyer. And it was a really fun app to build because it sort of played along like computer science, mechanical engineering, all that. Each of the modules was built completely from scratch, except for the little USB missile turret. We used a lot of laser cutting and sandblasting and all that. Sorry, I hit the controller with the robot. Anyway, are we? Okay, so yeah, we can see the Android is sitting there, and yes, Han shot first. So yeah, he's driving along, and there's the stealthy Star Destroyer hiding behind the door. He fires in, hits him, shoots back, return fire. Yeah. I guess that's, you have anything to add? Oh yeah, we can also, so we don't have video right now, unfortunately, but we can control this guy, because we have the server and the computer here. Are you ready?
Yeah.
You have it working? Is it easier on the table, floor? Floor? All right. So yeah, you can see, can you scroll out a bit?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know. Yeah? Oh, God. Yeah, we were doing a lot of hardware for this. All the electronics were custom soldered, all the mechanicals custom built.
Yeah, reset the conductor.
You good? So yeah, he's currently talking over Wi-Fi to the server. I got it. Which is then going to the server, which is then talking to the operating system on that computer, so we can get through to the file system to talk to this little USB, which then emits radio frequencies to that guy, who then interprets it and drives around accordingly. Any questions?
My son wants to know if it will be for sale and where.
These are my babies now. Yeah.
Can you just explain the architecture on between the controller and the server, and then the server to the device?
Between the controller to the server, I think Edward probably knows more about, but the server to the device.
Okay, so basically we use Ruby Rails to build up our server and the interface, and then basically we load the web page and hit the key, and then we just call some shell files, and then use this RF chips here to transmit all commands to the robot.
And then the RF chip that sends the commands, there's an identical one on the robot that receives the commands. And then there's also a microcontroller on the robot that takes the high-level commands like position information, orientation of the turret, and then turns that into like a motor drive. So you actually get motion, and you can do something meaningful with the robot.
Awesome.
So what did you guys need to do in advance of these 48 hours, and what was done during the 48 hours?
So, I mean, sourcing parts was really important. Luckily, we had home field advantage, so we had access to a lot of the labs. So we were able to, have access to sandblasters, laser cutters, and things like that. But really, I mean, it was just a lot of high-level discussion about how to go from a user anywhere in the world to a microcontroller somewhere, some arbitrary other position. We did a lot of research about the common stuff. I think the way we were talking to the little USB is the operating system is overwriting a character special file, and then we had to come up with a way so that asynchronous communication could actually work. We used sort of a handshake approach where, sending and receiving, and each time it gets a command, it then sends back a, yeah, I got that, it's good. In addition to that, I mean, we all took mechatronics last semester, except for Steven, who unfortunately isn't here right now. And that class is really fantastic. It really just takes you through from zero assumed knowledge about coding, electronics, or anything, to building autonomous robots that play hockey against each other for the final project. And so, yeah, I guess that's a pretty good crash course right there.
Cool. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Up now is Cloud Sequencer from the University of Michigan, followed by SmoothRide and Social Contribute.
Hey everyone. All right, I'm Gaurav, and I'm from the University of Michigan. And we built Cloud Sequencer, a sequencer for the clouds. And so we came to this hackathon armed with a MIDI controller, and we thought we need to do something with this. And so what we ended up making is a sequencer for SoundCloud tunes and various clips. And so hopefully these guys will get it set up shortly. And basically what it allows you to do is pull arbitrary SoundCloud tracks, cut out samples from them, and assign them to keys on the MIDI controller. So then you can do live performances, mash up music, do all kinds of crazy stuff. So this is what the interface looks like. We've got the waveform is the track that we pulled in from SoundCloud. We've got a couple, we can modulate this in a couple different ways. We've got volume, speed. We can adjust what part of the clip we're taking.
That's what it says. A horrible person. Even testing for that.
We've been finding a lot of really great clips on SoundCloud to do all kinds of fun samples. And let's get some music going. All right. All right. So this is a loop on one of the keys. It's just a sample from a Ukrainian violin piece that is just played on loop. And we can add stuff to it. So this is a couple samples from the Amen break. We spliced it up to its individual instruments. And we can drum along with this music. And let's get the vocals in. Yeah, it's a clip from Charlie Chaplin's The Great Dictator. So how does this work? So basically, we've got MIDI talking to our laptop over MIDI, over USB. We've got a C program sitting there that listens to these and prints out basically MIDI controls to standard out. We've got a node server that listens to these and pipes it to the browser using WebSockets. And one last thing I want to add is that Noah wants to talk about, we actually built a little drum machine out of some hardware to play along with it.
Well, just really quickly, we thought it would be cool to enable the open source hardware community to just natively interact with this. So I had a backpack full of parts that I just forgot to take out of it. So we built a little drum machine that works and can trigger the samples over Bluetooth.
And additionally, I'd just like to talk about how samples come into the system and how recordings come out. If you saw earlier, I dropped a link into the bar up at the top. It drops a sample in, and we can select the region that we want to actually sample. So let's go about here, extend the length, and see what it sounds like.
Danger zone.
And clips can either be looped or they can be played, and if they're being played, then...
Danger, 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 danger zone.
Yeah, and what we were really going for is just to take the hardware MIDI sequencer and put it into the browser. Yeah, and it's great the technology's all there to do it.
And lastly, you can record it and publish your creation to SoundCloud automatically. And so we can take questions.
I think this is awesome. I don't have any questions. I just wanted to say that.
Thank you.
So are the samples being held? Explain the browser architecture of the sampler, if you would, please.
Sure, I can take that. So basically, these are all the sounds are held in audio buffers, HTML5 audio tags. And so whenever you drag in a URL, it'll automatically create an audio tag, and we basically, we take all of the splicing stuff that we do, and that modifies how we handle playback. We also use the web audio API, or the web audio API to mix down tracks, so that we can finally record these and post them back onto SoundCloud.
Can you have multiple MIDI devices going in at once?
In theory, you could. We only have one, and kind of because of the hackathon nature, we kind of hard-coded it. But apparently, and we were talking to some of the guys from SoundCloud, there are some really robust libraries for actually getting MIDI data into Node.js or other environments. And so in the future, yes, you could definitely have multiple devices.
Up now is SmoothRide from the University of Michigan, followed by Social Contribute and Sound Sculptor.
Hello, I'm Mike from the University of Michigan. This is Anthony, Andrew, and Brian. So what we wanted to do is we wanted to create some sort of hack that would get as many cyclists on the street as fast as possible. And one of the things that I think prevents people from wanting to ride their bikes is they feel kind of uncomfortable riding on the street. They think it's not the place for them because it's maybe too rough. They think they have to like start and stop, traffic lights, stuff like that. So if we could create some sort of app that would tell riders where the best place to ride their bike would be. Now, Philadelphia in their open API has bicycle routes, which we've implemented into our app, but we wanted to improve those with kind of real-time data. So the first thing that we targeted our app towards, or kind of made our scope, was for detecting potholes. I don't know if you've ever ridden a bike in any place up north where you have a lot of freeze thaw and you get potholes, cracks, stuff like that in the road. You can kind of end up with a sore butt by the end of your commute ride home. So what we've done is we've taken our nice bike here and we've embedded a microcontroller inside of it. That microcontroller has a Bluetooth module and an accelerometer. The accelerometer is detecting potholes. And then that is interfacing with an Android app, which is then interfacing with a larger crowdsourced map of potholes across all of Philadelphia.
All right, so I'm Brian. I basically did all the hardware for this. So I soldered together this board that you see here. It's just a custom board that I threw together today, actually. I had it breadboarded this morning, but I soldered all day today. If there's a potentiometer for adjusting real time, if you needed to, say you're going over a really potholey place and you want it to be, your threshold to be higher. If you're going over a not so rough place, you wanted to set it lower. So I took the accelerometer data, averaged it out, and waited for a request from Android via Bluetooth. And then when I got that packet, I sent a couple bytes over, and those bytes were interpreted by the Android app.
With the Android app, we just wait for, well, the person to travel a certain distance. So like every couple of meters, it does an update, checks with the Bluetooth device to see whether we've hit a pothole. And if it has, well, yeah, it should do that at some point. Yeah, there we go.
There's a 15 in the third line.
But so now the bike has detected that you've been going over some potholes, and the next time that you move, it'll post that to our Maps API. It's this thing called
Ushahidi. Yeah, nobody else on the team can pronounce it, but it's basically so Google Maps has their API, and then this is another API that goes on top of Google Maps, and then they have their own cloud implementation called CrowdMap, which we used to map the data points, and we had to do some work to automate that process because normally you're not allowed to do that, and we had to deal with some CSRF attacks or potential attacks, but we got through those, so we can map the points, and as you can see, they all show up on the UI.
Yeah, they thought we were trying to cross-site script, but when we were trying to use our Android to post the request to post these points. So these were my nice 4 a.m. bike round around West Philadelphia. You see down in the south east here, there's a lot of dots because there's a lot of construction around the hospital. You see Walnut Street and Chestnut Street don't have hardly any dots because they are just brand new and paved. So what we can do is we can now pull up the data from the Philadelphia Open API of bike routes. So you see 3 of them are imported through West Philadelphia. So we can pick the 3 of those that have we can pick which one of those 3 have the least number of potholes in it. Thank you.
How do you are you able to identify when someone's on the road versus someone's on the sidewalk?
Right now, we're not identifying it, no. We're actually just identifying within like 10-meter spheres. But what we can do is we can use the API to identify if 2 people hit the same pothole. We can verify that as a known pothole instead of an anomaly.
Could you possibly send this data to like the city of Philadelphia and have them fix the potholes?
Absolutely. Yeah, so it's nice to be able to avoid them, but yeah, if you can fix them, why not? But
We get a list of reports, basically, and everything is tagged with a GPS location. So if we were to send that to the city, they could possibly work on that.
So this is clearly how you input the data. So now let's say that we wanted to use it. Now let's say I was riding my bike and I wanted to avoid potholes. How good can it be? It can clearly tell me when I'm coming up to an area where there's a pothole. Can it help me actually avoid it?
yeah, so 48 hours ago when we were young and naive, we planned to have a whole route planning algorithm, use Google Maps to adjust the route planning for cyclists to weight the edges more for potholes so you would kind of go around them. So that's something that's actually doable. We have the GIS database of bicycle routes in Philadelphia too through Philadelphia's Open API. But we just, obviously, there's only 48 hours.
Yep.
Thank you.
Cool.
Thanks. Go Blue!
Now up is our social contribute from Penn State, followed by Sound Sculptor and Spark Tab.
Hi, I'm Patrick, and this is Ani, and we're from Penn State. So at Penn State, we have Thon, which is the world's largest student-run philanthropy to conquer pediatric cancer. And so with that in mind, after we graduate, we still want to be involved and kind of spread awareness for our cause. So what we want to do is kind of utilize social media. And one popular thing that a lot of people are doing now is using Twitter to kind of create their own charity campaign. And so here we have an example where a person wants to help this campaign or charity, and so they say that with each retweet, I'll donate 10 cents. And so what we want to do is create a website that allows you to easily kind of create your own charitable campaign and kind of track all the different statistics, and you can see how much that you're going to end up donating. So we created Social Contribute. And so we can go ahead and log in with my Twitter account. And then you get to pick kind of how much you want to donate per retweet, and also you can pick a threshold so if you reach a certain amount, then we're going to go ahead and deduct your count straight to your charity. There you go. And then you can pick your different payment methods, and then you can also do like a week-long event, do your different end dates. So we'll go ahead and pick a sample here. And then it's going to go ahead and create the tweet for you, and then it'll also give you a link so anyone can go view and kind of track your different statistics and see how well you're doing, and the number of retweets that you're gaining from my tweet. Okay, so now here's a confirmation page, kind of you can overview of everything that you've selected. And now we've hit confirm, and I've went ahead and tweeted that. So if you follow me on PChannel19, you can see that. So here's a sample statistic page for someone who's already started a campaign, and you can see that it was retweeted 12 times, and with their rate of 50 cents per minute or per retweet, they have donated $6. And we also have a page where you can kind of track all the different statistics as well, and kind of view other people's campaigns, gain awareness of different charities. And this is Social Contribute. Thank you.
Very cool. How are you able to track how many retweets?
Everything's through the Twitter API, and
even if it continues getting retweeted.
That's correct. Yeah.
What if it gets modified? You know, sometimes people do RT, et cetera, et cetera. Will that work?
With the Twitter API, they take that into account, and it takes a few minutes for the API to actually get the number of retweets. But since you can set the time limit, then you can easily track that. So
very cool.
Are you guys integrating with any payment platform after you calculate how many tweets have been sent?
Right, yeah, we plan on trying to do that, and so hopefully we can maybe work with PayPal to kind of create your own account that you can, so that way people know that you actually are pledging and donating that money. Thank you.
Thanks.
Now up is Sound Sculptor representing Bergen County Academy's high school and the Dalton School, followed by SparkTab and Take Note.
Hey guys, so we're Sound Sculptor. We are a team of high school students from New York and New Jersey, and what we're going to show to you today is a use of this new SDK called Leap Motion that allows you to create your own beats on the web and then share them on SoundCloud.
Leap Motion's, it didn't come out yet. We have the developer preview. Actually just got it a few days ago, and so here it is.
So Sound Sculptor is a music generation and visualization application that runs completely in your browser, and it's 100% JavaScript. And I think that seeing it would be a lot more interesting than hearing me talk about it, so I'll just let Russell get along.
So Sound Sculptor is controlled. There are two kind of main interface commands. You can use 4 fingers to raise the volume and lower the volume. I said it too loud at the beginning, so that's helpful. And you can also kind of go back and forth to get like a DJ effect. And this is being live recorded as we're making it. The main other interface is using 2 fingers, where the X and Y of each finger is mapped to different pitches.
So what's happening right now is that Russell is actually controlling 2 notes with 1 finger. And how he's doing this is the leap device is actually giving us a Y and X coordinate for each finger. And we're using that to map each coordinate to a different note. So if he moves his finger up, they'll play a different note. If he moves his finger side to side, it'll play a different note. So in total, he's controlling 4 different notes with his fingers, and there's a background beat as well. So there's 5 tunes at the same time being played together, and that's being synced.
So to save our song, we can just press spacebar, and something's going to pop us to allow it to it already saved to the desktop for us. And we can also, share on SoundCloud if we like. So that's our app. Let us know if you have any questions.
Very, very cool. Have you thought at all about different ways to integrate perhaps the keyboard or other things from the device in sculpting the sound?
So one of our design goals was to make something that you could control entirely hands-free, just using your hands. But we think that there are a lot of more there's a lot more interface potential than just what we're doing so far. For example, one thing that we were thinking of doing, but unfortunately didn't have time to implement, is kind of a drum beat with like a rapid tap of your finger. That's something totally doable. Just didn't have the time, and I think that there are a lot of other options like that. The Leap Motion device is pretty sensitive, so we have a good amount of control over what we can do. But I think a hands-free interfacer and just on gestures was our main goal.
Great.
Good work, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Up next is SparkTab from Lehigh, followed by Take Note and Cartesia.
Hi. So we are 4 students from Lehigh University. I'm Grayson. This is Michael, Zach, and Ben. And we made a program called SparkTab. I always get the name wrong. But so basically our goal over the weekend was to try to jumpstart your new tab experience. So shortly you'll see here is it's designed to be a new tab page. And basically we allow you to deeply customize your searching experience. So imagine like the following use case, right? Like maybe it's the first day of classes and you have a really bad professor and he does a terrible job of explaining thermodynamics. So you go and you look at the keywords and you see where might I be able to find some more information. And you're like, maybe YouTube is a good place to start. So you go and you start typing YouTube in the search bar and you'll see it starts to autocomplete your search and you can tab through the options really quickly. So you search YouTube for thermodynamics. And after you search, you realize, you know what, I forget what thermodynamics even means. So you open up a new tab again, and you type define. And you start typing some words like thermodynamics and metaphysics. And you press enter, and from DuckDuckGo, you can get some instant definitions on however many words you choose. And then you're like, wait, I need to know what books I need. So you search Amazon books for metaphysics. And right about now is when you're realizing we're only slightly more functional than like the new tab page in Chrome with some shortcuts, but you can still do some more cool things that we put in. So maybe you want to send a tweet. You think it's really cool, so you send a tweet. And so you can tweet from the bar, and maybe you just got a new laptop and you need to reinstall the software. So you make a new tab and you search Night for all your programs, and it's a list of programs that are available, and it starts auto-completing. So you put in 7-zip, Evernote, and you press enter, and you have an executable package of all the software that you want to install that you just listed out. You can search, maybe you want to upload a picture to Facebook or to Dropbox. There's file picker functionality, and you can upload to your Dropbox and things like that. You can customize the background. So if you were to type the background command, you can choose from File Picker and grab from a Google search, maybe a picture from nature, and change the background. And so we'll close off with maybe you forgot to tell your mom that, or you forgot to take the garbage out for your mom, and so you need to send a text really quick. So using Twilio's API, you can type phone, type text, and send your mom a text message saying, sorry mom, forgot to take out the trash. And yeah, so that would send a text message. I don't think you put the right phone number
I put
in.
the wrong phone number, don't worry about it.
And the really cool thing about this that we're really excited about is it's super, super easy to extend this. Literally, these are JavaScript objects with like 4 properties, 2 functions, like an onPress and an onEnter, and we give you access to a lot of stuff. There's helper methods to tell you when to put autocomplete in, so we're really excited about it.
I think the design of this is gorgeous, and I can definitely see this being super useful. I mean, what's the goal besides adding more, kind of being more useful? I mean, what's the real goal here? I mean, are you cataloging everything that people are searching so you can, you know, use a lot of data, or what's the goal here?
I mean, there's no like ulterior motive. It's basically you open up a new tab, and you know, for me personally, I like having these little shortcuts. I like type like YT, press space, you can search YouTube like that. And we thought, you know, this would be a really cool way to do a lot more than that. We sort of played with this idea of, you know, if you go into command prompt, you can add all these options. You can add all these different functions. We thought maybe we can do that with the internet, because the internet's become so dynamic recently. We even have things like Venmo, so you can pay to different people. You can do different charges. You can use all these free available APIs that companies want you to use. You can create your own script, your own Sparks, and you can use this in a way to really streamline your, you know, internet browsing experience. And it's so fast, it's so efficient, and you can write it however you want. So we're really hoping it really just catches on. And I think it's something that hopefully people will enjoy using. I know personally I see a lot of use in this, and hopefully other people will feel the same.
Very cool. There's definitely a lot of simplicity in the UI, which is great. How would you think about users becoming educated about what the power of this is, how they can use it, how to use the syntax, et cetera? Have you thought about that at all?
Okay, so like we mentioned earlier, we definitely want our users to be generating their own tags, their own information for sites that they want to create shortcuts to. We don't have the API up yet. It's something we ran out of time to do, but it's actually really, really easy, really short JavaScript file, like just 2 functions. You know, like on press, when you start typing, we get the autocomplete going, and on enter, when you hit enter, we build the URL and throw it out there, or we can use the API depending on the company. So we're hoping to have it just like just another page here where you can just build one right away. Any other questions? Thanks, guys.
Take Note is up now, followed by Cartesia and Virtual Perspective.
Hi, everyone. It's a real pleasure to be up here today to tell you guys about our idea. So it's been, all 3 of us are from different places. I'm from Penn. Bernice here is from Michigan, again. And Robin here is from Lehigh. So we are all first-time PennApp participant, and it's been a really fun experience. I think we're all a bit sleep deprived, but it's been very exciting. So to tell you how we thought of the idea, so if you were to walk into a classroom today, especially if it's a math or science class, the difference between today's class and class 5 years ago is that rather than using spiral-bound notebooks, a lot of kids are using iPads now to take notes, as the professor is writing all over the board. So as some of you remember, some of you are experiencing nowadays, it's sort of a pain in the butt experience. You know, you want to focus in class, you want to sort of catch the flow of the lecture, but you're really trying to scramble and writing all the notes down. So I had that experience recently, and I thought it's pretty silly, actually. So I decided to take a photo, just using your regular iPhone 4S, 5, take a photo of the writing. And so, but the problem is, though, that you know, when you're stressed, when you're studying for your final, you don't want to look at your notes like this. You know, you want a nice, clean, laid out picture or note. So we tried a few algorithms, and actually it's a pretty straightforward transformation. So we can take this image and then essentially highlight the boundaries of the blackboard, and then we can turn it pretty magically, really, into a pretty nice appearing, legible, readable note. And it's a lot more legible than my handwriting when I write this thing down. So I think it's actually pretty beneficial. So we can do the same for multiple images. So these were taken actually in some of the classrooms here this weekend. And so these were actually taken off at a pretty skewed angle, but you can see they actually appear pretty nicely when you do the transformation. And if you're sitting a little bit further away from the class from a pretty awkward angle, you can do the same thing actually. And they look pretty nice. So when we set out, we had two goals. One is that to achieve this kind of transformation, you need to define the four corners of the blackboard. So when you're taking 20, 30 pictures per lecture, for example, you don't want to have to go through all those pictures and point out those 4 points yourself. And the second thing is that we want to have a nice file system that allows you to organize this automatically. So, so Bernice and Rabin here will be talking a little bit more about those two aspects.
Hi guys. So essentially, you are going to sign in with Dropbox. We have already signed in because we don't want you to have our passwords. Or have we signed in? We're just kind of you're looking at it. Okay, never mind. And so what we have here is we have folders, and so the folders have different lectures, different classes in them. We're not really in classes and didn't feel like making up names, so ABC and PQR will work for now. So in ABC, we put our original images, just boards, however you may take them. We ran back and forth in the classroom, apparently. I don't think we need to load it. That's going to take time. It's a picture. And so in the PQR folder are our nice laid out images. For fun, we decided there's also a picture taking app. So you're in class. Oh, you can name your folder there too, your lectures. But in class, you look at the whiteboard, but what you really want to do is maybe look at other things. There's a video, guy in history class, I think. There's some other things like that. So we're going to actually show the photo part of it by taking a photo of ourselves.
Okay, so. So let's stay over here together and
snap. Okay. So it's going to take the photo. It's going to actually go through the processing. We don't look like Blackboard, so it's probably not going to come up with anything. And then we're going to probably go to questions and answers and then show you guys the result in a second.
Thank you.
So it's one thing to take the image and just make it easy to read. Have you given any thought to sort of detecting the actual text within the image and taking it out of sort of a JPEG format and bringing it into some other more accessible format?
Right. I can take that. I love OCR. I begged for OCR, but I think with the math and science background between us, I rarely have lectures where there's text on the slide or on the blackboard, so it makes a lot less sense here. And also just getting a different application. I think there's room for OCR. The angles you have to work with, it would work really well with blackboards, maybe less so with some other kind of applications.
I think there's also Evernote does it by itself, the OCR text to searchable text.
Cool. Can you talk a little bit about the edge detection algorithms you're using?
Yeah.
And does it work with surfaces other than blackboards, like whiteboards?
Right. So whiteboards, I'll just mention that really quickly. Whiteboards, it depends. So you have the whiteboard sometimes with like the metal frames. We tried that. Doesn't work as well. There's not as much contrast. But if you have a whiteboard with a nice black frame or something kind of strong difference, it works just as easily. So I wanted to put a ton of math stuff up, but no one would want that except for me. So this is just looking, so, actually, we'll go here. Oh no, I guess we'll go here. I'll just name them. So canny edge detection. This is all in OpenCV with Python bindings. So canny edge detection, we'll go and find the edges. The Hoff line detection is actually where we went and found the lines. So there's a picture of a radial beam. So we assume that you at least get the picture somewhere in the middle third of the blackboard in the middle third, and then send out a radial kind of beam to find the closest edge that we found. And also, we're experimenting to make it a little more robust. So you'll see what I was doing. This has the edge detection and just plotting some kind of sampling points and then doing a similar thing at different points. So that way, if you see that other blackboard over there or something weird like that, just make it a lot more robust so you can take pictures that are horrible and still come up with something.
So I just want to quickly clarify what you said.
Mm-hmm.
So it seems like what you're doing is you take the photo, you use OpenCV to do the edge detection.
Yes.
So this is already done, and you're pulling you're using an API to do the edge detection. And then I noticed you're also changing angles, right? So that's also
right. So the angles. So the angles. All you really need to do actually, after you find the edges, you just need to find the 4 corners. So if you extend these lines, you can find that corner that's kind of hidden under that desk for that one. And then from there is actually just an affine transformation. It's a simple one-line thing. And you're good to go.
Good job, guys.
Thank you.
Now up is Cartesia, followed by Virtual Perspective, and then we'll have WebTube.
Hello. We're Cartesia, and we're 4 Penn students, all studying digital media design, which is in the engineering school, and we're all juniors. I'm Jenny. This is Jeremy, Lauren, and the other Jenny. Today, the app that we have prepared from the weekend is called Cartesia, and the problem that we were trying to face was the fact that you would go, I'm sure all of you know this, you're all hackers or professionals in that industry. You'll have a calc class or a physics class or some kind of class, and they'll give you an equation. You know there's some sort of graph associated with it, and even if you try to draw it out, it's kind of hard to figure out exactly what it's trying to make. And Wolfram Alpha will do some sort of job. You'll get a nice picture. But what we really tried to put together was an app where you could type in various bounds and functions related to the equation and get a 3D graph to look at and move around. So this here is a solid revolution. That's our first example. And if you click inside the box, you can see how you can really interact with the piece of information you're working with. Right now we have it functional for line integrals and vector fields as well, which we have a few typed in already so we don't mess up on stage. But we have plans to extend it to other things like directional derivatives and triple integrals and whatnot, because with what's already in place, the rest is just give us a little more time and it would be done. Something like this I think is really applicable to at least a lot of what we're doing, like physically based animation. A lot of this would be really useful. And it's more than just, it's seeing it, which really brings it home for all of us. So hopefully it's helpful to students who have faced similar problems. It's all based in WebGL, but they'll have more to say about that than I do.
So this is just loading right now, but for especially for line integrals, it's really hard to conceptualize what you're trying to solve for. So in this example, like this blue transparent region is the surface, and it's the paraboloid that we've inputted at the bottom in terms of x and y. And then we have like a unit circle parameterized in terms of t that we're integrating over. And the green area that you see is like the line integral that you would be solving for.
And now she's just putting in another equation. One extension that we had planned on doing, but we ran out of time, is like we would have liked to start, you can sort of see the red line under the green surface, and we were going to ask the user for input for the curve, and then ask them for the surface and like show them individually, and then animate the line integral to come, so you could see them individually before you saw them all together.
We also want to, like in the future, animate the solids of revolution too, so you can see the functions that you're integrating over in like 2D, and then watch it rotate around the axis that you select. But here's another line integral This is like a crazy surface, and you can just really visualize like the area that you're trying to solve for. Oh yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
Nice job. Can you just talk a little bit about the technology? You mentioned WebGL, but what are you doing for the in-browser manipulation?
So like this region is basically just an iframe.
Yeah, so our plan was to implement this as far as we could. This is, to get the graphs, we have a wrapper over WebGL that you can pass it a function and it'll graph it for you. And we were gonna implement like this set and then go back and re-implement all of that ourselves just in WebGL instead of using this wrapper, but like we ran out of time. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
So you guys talked about using this in animation work, so can you tell us a little bit about how you'd use it with your animation work in general?
No, like how we would use this in like our other coursework. If you look at like a vector field, can you type it in? Yeah. So a vector field is really pertinent for like fluid simulation and like taking the gradient of a surface. And I think if we wanted to extend this, if you could like have another surface, like a ball dropping into the vector field and having it interact with the vector field and like the force between the two and altering it.
Like 3 of us are in a course called like physics-based animation, and we talk about like vector fields and gradients like every day. So.
And like it's hard, even if you want to draw it on the board, it's hard to explain something like that without seeing it. That was the motivation kind of behind this project.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, last 3 teams rounding out the final 20 are Virtual Perspective from ETH Zurich, then WebTube, and Zeit Planner. No. That's there for, okay.
Just zoom in more. Do you need the whole screen?
No, just zoom out. Zoom out, yeah. It's just right. It's right.
Sorry, guys.
Okay. Hello, everybody. We are from ETH, from Zurich, Switzerland, and we would like to show, our cool magical app. So the goal of the project was kind of to bring real-world 3D objects to the smartphone. And basically with our app you can capture any object you like with a simple camera, and then we view it from different angles for a 3D experience. So let me show it to you. So I'm going to load a capture from Christian, that's him. And as I move with my eyes, it changes the perspective for a 3D experience, a really immersive 3D experience. So capturing is also really, really easy. I can just, yeah, kind of hard with the microphone. So he just has to press the button, and then it starts to take pictures, and our image stabilization algorithms make sure that you always get a good result, even if it's like a little bit shaken and stuff. And now it processes and processes the thing. I mean, for the applications, there are several applications for this stuff. Just imagine like a Facebook profile picture with this. That's just really cool because you can like view from different angles and not just like one image. So yeah, that's how long does it take? Like 10 pictures more, take some time. Let's wait. So 5 more. This is like a real live demo, and it can fail, but it shouldn't. So here it is. It loads again. Yeah, here we have it. Taken right from the table here. Yeah, thanks for your attention.
Really cool. For the playback, so are you using the camera on the device to look at your eyes and
Track the
skew
eyes.
for tracking?
Track the eyes in real time. With these devices, that's now feasible. That's cool. Yeah.
And is that your own algorithm, or did you use something for that?
No, we just used there's in the Android SDK there is an eye tracking algorithm which was pretty stable, and then we focused on the other parts of the project.
And could you talk about the blending algorithm you're using for image stitching?
Just simple alpha blending. But we stabilized the image with like feature detection first, and we try to minimize the distance, but it's like changing the perspective, right? So it's not just like classical image stabilization algorithm.
Cool.
How much of this was built in the last 48 hours, and how much was built on the flight here from Switzerland?
Everything in the last 48 hours.
Wow. This is awesome.
Thanks.
Great job, guys. Last 2 demos to round out the 20 will be WebTube with not representing UPenn and Zeit Planner.
All right. Hey guys, I'm not from UPenn, and over the weekend I built a silly little app. So honestly, didn't think I was going to be up here, but thank you. I'm happy to be here. So what I built is a web app, and so WebTube is actually an old school CRT TV, as you can see here, that lets you browse the interwebs. So the first thing you do is turn it on. That's what you do with TVs. And it behaves like a TV. And first you got some test channels just to make sure your colors are correct. And your WebTube is working correctly. So then you switch to the web channel. And what it is just you can browse the web in it. And thank you. Yeah, it's just behaves like a browser. So I can look up Katy Perry. Let's pull up some GIFs because they're funny. Okay. Yeah. So, and it still behaves like a TV. You can switch it on and off. So aside from the web, I implemented another extra feature, which is an SSH terminal. So let's see if that works. Okay, gonna go into ENIAC here. There we go. Yeah, that's your terminal right there, and yeah, it still behaves like a TV. So what makes this work is a cutting-edge technology called CSS shaders being pushed by Adobe. It's actually so cutting-edge, it's not even in the HTML spec yet. So if you want to go to this app and make it work, you have to go to Chrome Flags and set it to enabled. So hopefully that becomes a default soon. And I can talk, basically what it does is actually it lets you customize, or let you control how the hardware is actually rendering a DOM through the use of shaders. And as a final note, here's a little like Easter egg. So I like George Lucas. So I'm gonna look him up. And if you're someone like George Lucas, you probably wanna browse the web this way. And it's supposed to come through your screen. It's just not, yeah, so it still works. And so that's Web2. Thank you. Oh yeah, questions.
I'm speechless.
George Lucas would be proud.
Thank you.
If there are no questions, we'll move on to our final team. So our final team will be Zeit Planner from UPenn.
Hi, my name is Nina, and this is Lauren and Mitchell. We have another partner, Dylan, who's not here right now, but we are Penn freshmen, and we created a program called Zeit Planner. I guess like every single semester, Penn students put in a crazy amount of time into figuring out their schedules. And with like 6 classes and multiple lecture sections, recitations, and lab sections, you know, this ends up being, you know, over 1,000 more than 1,000 possible different schedules. And you can see how this can become a really long and tedious process. So essentially, we made Zeit Planner, which allows you to automate the optimization process.
So we created a few demo schedules that we'll show for you. We have a few preferences that we can choose to select early classes, minimize the gaps. For example, we can have less spread, or like if you're a late riser, like a lot of us computer science kids, you want to have as many late classes as possible. So here, for example, we have a random schedule, and then on top our optimized schedule. But if you look at our optimized schedule, we have class from 9 to 4, which is kind of a big chunk. So we'll throw in some lunch breaks, and it'll reconfigure the schedule so that you have a nice time to take a break. Another schedule that we have, Demo 3. These are all like classes that typically you'll take like freshman, sophomore year. And this schedule works out really nicely with all the late classes, so you don't even start till 1:30. So you can optimize your schedule really nicely here to fit like whatever you want. And as for fun, we made another schedule with the maximum number of classes that you can take, which is a total of 18 credits. And if you take the schedule, you'll have a lot of fun. And that's all we have. Thanks.
Any questions?
Can you talk about the optimization algorithms you're using? Is it best fit? Is it brute force? What are you using?
A little bit of each. So first we go through and we use somewhat of a brute force algorithm just to generate a lot of possible schedules. In some cases, for certain configurations, we had something on the order of 600,000, 800,000, over 1 million possible schedules, and that was a lot to go through. So we had to cap it after a certain point. And then after we generate each schedule, which has, you know, one section from each of the classes that you would like to take, then we calculate statistics about each, based on these various criteria. And then after that, we go through and just sort the schedules first based on your primary preference, and then breaking ties with your secondary preference. And here we've displayed just the top one schedule, but in many cases, as I said, there's hundreds of thousands, so you could certainly have a lot of variety to choose from.
Can you show us maximum amount of credits with least amount of class time?
Right, here at Penn, class time and credit is pretty similar, so.
Fantastic. So big round of applause to all 20 of our awesome teams who made it this far. That was awesome. All right, so our judges are going to go, compare notes and tabulate scores. In the meantime, we have a couple of things to go over very quickly. So just going to say once again, thanks to our judges. And Swift, if you want to come up and present the Audience Choice Award.
Sweet. Wow. So definitely want to reiterate Polek's sentiments there. Those were some really impressive hacks. For those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Swift. I'm a developer evangelist at SunGrid. I'm also one of the founders of this little outfit called Hacker League. And so if anybody doesn't know what Hacker League is, we're the platform for hackathons online. We handled all the submissions for this hackathon. So, today you only saw the top 20 just now, but there were over 119, I think it was 119 hacks that got submitted this weekend, ranging from everything that a coffee pot that sent you an email when it finished brewing your coffee, and a toilet that was live tweeting while you were peeing in it. So. Pretty impressive. Definitely head over to Hacker League when you get a chance. Review all the other hacks, because there's some really impressive stuff that got made. You guys should all be really proud of yourselves. So let's give it up for all the hacks that didn't make it to the finals, but were still awesome. So what I'm up here to do, though, is to do the community choice voting. So community choice voting is going to start in just a second. The way this is going to work is there's this bit.ly link that you can check out right at the top, and there's a phone number. And you see on the side over here, there are some SMS codes. And so what you're going to do is you're going to take out your phones, and you're going to SMS, and you can't do this yet. It's not live yet. I'm going to turn it on in a second, but I'm reviewing the rules. You're going to take out your phone. You're going to SMS one of these short codes that corresponds to your favorite hack. Each person gets one vote. I'm going to open up the voting for exactly 5 minutes, so there's not going to be any cheating. And then you can, if you can't see your favorite hack in this list, it's too small or whatever, just go to that bit.ly URL and we'll get it there. So with that, I'm going to open the voting. And if I could, only the top 20 are in community voting. And if I could see this, go. So voting is now live, and you can start texting in your stuff. I'm going to zoom out a bit. The one that's highlighted in green is the one that is currently in the lead. So right now it's Hamilton. So, covering the fun. Sorry, guys. There we go. I'm going to zoom out one more time and get them all in there. There we go. Everybody's on the screen. Okay, so that is open. We have 2 minutes and 30 seconds remaining in community voting. Yep.
Okay, so Swift is going to put a border between the rows so that you can see which which row is which. Meanwhile, we have a couple people who are just going to make a couple of brief pitches. First, we have a few friends from various universities who are running their own hackathons, as well as a couple here at Penn. So I know some of them wanted to come give a brief shout out. So I'll give you guys the mic for about 30 seconds, and you just want to give a pitch, and we'll let the audience choice voting run while that happens.
Hey guys, PennApps was great. I loved seeing some of the hardware hacks there. Some really cool hacks. Penn is hosting a hardware hackathon February 16th, and there's going to be a boot camp on the 9th for people who are CS oriented but want to learn some hardware. Unfortunately, it's only for Penn students, but I just wanted to let you guys know that it's coming out February 9th and February 16th. It's going to be a lot of fun. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Dave, and I'm with Michigan Hackers, and we're going to be having a hackathon probably close to this size at Michigan in 2 weeks, February 1st through 3rd. It's mhacks.org, mhacks, not mx.org. Check us out. We have some really cool sponsors, and it's going to be a really, really epic event. So check that out, mhacks.org.
Also want to give a shout out to Code for Philly. So if you're from Philadelphia and you like what you're seeing here, Code for Philly meets every Tuesday, and definitely check them out. Adam, you want to give a brief pitch?
Do you mind if I plug it in?
Yeah, go for it. We're just going to switch this.
Got this.
Hi everyone, I'm Adam Weiss. I'm a senior at Carnegie Mellon University, and I didn't have an idea for this hackathon, but I decided to add to a project that I've already been working on, and it's called Schedule Plus, and this is it. I just opened it up for Columbia University, University of California, Berkeley, Princeton, and it got cut off, but not yet. Harvard. So we're now open at, I think that's 8 schools, and that's pretty cool, I think. So we have over 3,000 students on the application. It started at Carnegie Mellon University. And if you have any ideas of like where else we should go, and if you want this on your campus, contact us. And here, I'll just show you, if I can see my doc. So this is what the application looks like. You can see your full schedule, and that's pretty cool. So you can see what to take next semester. But more than that, you get to see all of your friends in all of your classes. So here's who's taking this course, and you get to see all of your friends' schedules. Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks, Adam. So, and I forgot to mention one other thing, but if you're a Penn student and you came out here, whether you participate in PennApps or not, we're having a finish-a-thon in 2 weekends. Finish-a-thon is what it sounds like. You take a hack that's partially created, most hackers out here probably have like 7 of those and try to put some finishing touches on one and actually kind of get it out there, get it online, get it on an app store. So you know, for the Penn students here, definitely check that out, and that's going to be an awesome event as well. So Swift, do you want to go ahead and tabulate the Audience Choice Award at this point? All right, so the results are in, and the winner of the Audience Choice Award is WebTube. So Nop, you will be receiving a personal interview with one of the partners at Highland Capital. If you're interested in applying for the Summer at Highland program, they're awarding a kind of mentorship and consultation to the winner of the Audience Choice Award. Cool. So now, before we get to our final awards, we have some sponsors who have a brief pitch about their company, and then they're going to present the sponsor awards. We have a number of sponsor awards, after which we'll get to the final award. So Ken, do you want to come up and start?
Thanks, Block. Ken Schmidt here with Jackie Bernardo for Yahoo. We've been here since PennApps started, and it started in town with just a few teams. This is really amazing. So we had a great chance to look at as many of the mobile teams as we could during this morning, and also during the 3 presentations. We had a guy in each one. And we went through and took a look at ones we thought were really good, had good presence, had a good potential for business. And we'd like to announce the winner of the Best Mobile Hack goes to Mosaic. And there were a lot of mobile apps. So the winner of the best, the Mosaic team will win the $500 and a trip to come see us in New York City, our mobile team up there. And we have bags of swag for a runner-up team, and that is Jukebox. Thanks a lot, guys. See you next time.
Okay, great. Now a number of other sponsored talks and awards. Cortina, would you like to come up and give your pitch about Venmo and your award?
Hey guys, it's great to be here. I'm from Venmo. You guys can check out our website to see what we do. Before I start the talk, I just wanted to say we've been involved since I think the very beginning, and it's been awesome to see this grow over the years. In addition to this being the biggest PennApps ever, I feel like it's the most well organized ever, so props to the students who organized it. So I was IMing Pulak earlier this week, saying, which I talked about in our sponsor time. And he said it'd be cool to hear the Venmo story, how you got started, what you guys did along the way to get to where you are now. So when my co-founder Ikram and I, we both went to Penn, and when we were here, all of our friends were doing this on-campus recruiting deal, trying to get jobs on Wall Street and at big companies. And everyone was like, there was no hackathon like PennApps, and people were practicing learning how to interview, not practicing building things. So it's great to see this happening. So when I graduated, I actually switched out of CS to study philosophy. So on the day I graduated, my mom was up here visiting me, and she was like, "So what are you gonna do after after graduation?" And I said, "I have 2 weeks left in the dorm room. I'll figure something out." So I found a place to live for like $400 for a month in West Philly, and said all I need to do is make $500 a month and I'm set. So I went around trying to build websites for every like restaurant in West Philly and University City, and asked them for $500. If they gave me $100, I would take it. This is one of my favorite restaurants. It's a Pakistani place, and they have this awesome like chicken kebab. We tried to sell them a website for 100 kebabs, but they didn't buy it. My co-founder Ikram and I did that together. So as we were doing that, we were also trying to work on bigger things. This was like a web-based iTunes type of website where musicians could sell their money that we tried to do. But pretty quickly we realized that we didn't really have the skills necessary to build a company. So we went to work at this company called I'm Alike With You. It was a dating website. YC company. Moved to New York to work here, and we learned a ton of stuff. And it was a great time. So the whole time we were doing like all this crazy stuff, like running around trying to sell websites to Pakistani restaurants and working at different startups. People were like, "Why don't you guys just get real jobs?" And as I was like putting together this story, I noticed on the PennApps website on the homepage it says the worst part of PennApps is coming back to the real world, and it just like reminded me of a lot of stuff that I've felt about working at startups. So the reason that we like to be involved in this is I think that the university curriculum is like very much, especially at Penn, it's like a vocational school basically, and they train you how to get jobs at big companies and prepare you for the real world. And it's up to the students, like the guys who organize this, to train you to be more creative. So I think my favorite thing about PennApps is that it's an event that it teaches you the joy of creating. And when you build something at PennApps or not, you end up being motivated by wanting to see this thing that you're working on get into the hands of people and see people use it. And as you start to see results and progress towards that, it creates this feedback loop. And I think it's actually a much better way to learn than a lot of the other stuff that I see happening. It's simply training you in the skills and the means without giving you an end to get you to work harder. So I think PennApps just is a really good example of this style of learning. So as we're like wrapping up at PennApps here and you're thinking about going back to the real world, I would advise you to consider not doing that. So you could do what we did, which is find other people that share your desire to work on a creative mission. If you want to come work with us, that's cool. Or you could do what a bunch of previous PennApps folks have done and like continue to work on whatever you started here. These are a bunch of cool projects that are now still being worked on. I think PayTango is in the YC class this year. And a couple of these other sites are like live and making money. So I would encourage you to do that if you want to do that with your app. So just to kind of sum up what I'm trying to say here is, I think there's a lot of amazing creative energy at this event, and you should take that with you and not just leave it here this weekend, because it's a really good thing for the world for you to be creative and build new things. We're hiring. I'm also around on email if you want to get advice about your startup or whatever you're working on. So email me. Oh, and we have an award, Most Polished. I was taking notes on my phone of like all the presentations, and like I was rating them 10 out of 10, and like half of them got 10 out of 10. So it was really hard to make a decision. But the Most Polished award is for a product that I really want to use myself, and I think is really well done. It's integrated with a mobile phone and a browser plugin. It's better auth, and it makes two-factor authentication easier. So you guys are going to need $1,000. Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Cortina. Now, Yui from Shop Your Way will give a few words as well.
Thanks, Pollock. Hi, everyone. My name is Yui Chung from Shop Your Way, and we are powered by Sears Holdings Corporation, one of the largest retailers. Before I begin, it's been an amazing journey watching all the hackers come together and just making incredible products. But I just want to give a shout out to one guy who I reached out to a few months ago asking all the information, and he was right on it, and that's Pollock and some of his crew. And I think we should all put our hands together and give him a shout out for organizing this amazing, the largest university hackathon. So we should give him a shout. So shopyourway.com, again, powered by Sears Holdings, is an incredible, amazing social shopping system that's really powered by a couple things. Really an amazing social integration, leveraging all the different capabilities and information tied to a very seamless shopping experience. And with that, when we built this platform, we said that we wanted to open this up for any engineers to also be able to develop on it. And that's why we were here. And we had the opportunity to see amazing apps being built right on top of our platform, leveraging our APIs and services that we built. We want our engineers, our hackers, to get in front of customers. And we have many millions of members today. And we are a member-based organization, and we want to encourage all our hackers to kind of continue to build these amazing applications. With that, we have the Best Social Commerce Award. And as we walk through all the demos, and we've seen a lot of great hacks, some used our platform, some did not. Just hats off to everyone who's actually built any kind of application that tied a commerce and a social piece together to make people shop experiences simple. So with that, the award goes to Uncloseted. They really built this amazing application. If you haven't seen it, go on the hackersleague.org and look at their URL. Their demo is extremely well done, very, very great user interface. But beyond that, how they integrate it and the information they use from social and to something that's much relevant, so such as what are the things I should wear during cold weather? And you could actually get products from different sites, such as Shop Your Way, and be able to compare them and then be able to wear them. So again, congratulations to Uncloseted. You guys did an amazing job. It's been a great opportunity to be here. We look forward to the fall season.
Hi, everyone. I'm Steven, and I'm an iOS engineer at Dropbox. Being here this weekend has been awesome. Those hacks were, it's really hard to pick a winner when, as Venmo is saying, like all the hacks are getting 10 out of 10 on your score sheet because of how impressive they are, especially for a 48-hour time period. So let's. So I'm here to talk really quickly about what it's like to work at Dropbox and then present our award. So a few years ago, Drew and Arash built a really simple solution to a pretty complicated problem of how do you get your files everywhere you go on multiple devices. And that magic folder where you put your data and it just gets synced to all your devices has gotten us to where we are today, which is 100 million users, 1 billion files synced every day, and 95% of Fortune 500 companies using Dropbox, which is just awesome. So we get this question a lot, like, okay, you've got the magic folder, aren't you done? Like, what's left? And the short answer to that question is no. There's a lot of stuff that we have left to do, and we have a pretty bold vision for where we want to take the company next. So first, we want to enable new forms of collaboration. The simple shared folder has already given nonprofits and small organizations a great way to collaborate in ways that weren't possible before. But we want to have like better teams, admins controls, better tools to allow people to collaborate around shared data. We also want to be everywhere. So right now we're on your laptop, we're on your smartphone, but we have a vision to be on your television, in your car, on your cameras, so that no matter what device you're interacting with, no matter what manufacturer made that device, your data is just everywhere, and you can always have access to it. In addition to that, it's richer experiences around your data, so a better photos experience where you can actually create albums and share those with your friends, better experiences around document editing, better experiences around search, and all this stuff. The opportunities are just endless for us to build really great product experiences. And last is where we can't do stuff ourselves. We want to create a really robust API for third parties to create great product experiences. So that means abstracting away a lot of the common pains of application development, especially in an increasingly mobile landscape where developers have to deal with caching and they have to deal with network connectivity issues. We want to make an API that deals with that stuff for the developer, so they don't even have to think about it. So that being said, this is actually a good time for us. The PennApps timing is good because we just had an event called Hack Week last week. And Hack Week is very similar to this hackathon in that you pick a project and you just work on it for 1 week. So you find someone to work with. Ryan and Jessica here built a collaborative drawing tool. Think Google Docs for Microsoft Paint. And they built that in 1 week. And Hack Week really to us is about doing whatever you need to do to get shit done. So if you need to sit at a desk, lounge on a couch surrounded by plush, or hijack a conference room, grab some speakers, and just blast music to work your way through the night, whatever empowers you to just get your shit done. So Hack Week's really about putting on the headphones, canceling all your meetings, making a midnight espresso, and just building something. And it doesn't have to be software. So we'll see where this hardware project leads in a few slides. But it's also a chance for us to bond as a company, a company-wide poker tournament, building a gingerbread tower who can build the tallest in 5 minutes, planning out a dance routine, or struggling with Python for the first time. We taught people in the company who had never programmed before how to write Python programs, solve simple questions, and then we pitted them against one another in a competition. It's also a chance to take classes. We had a cheese class where Dropboxers learned how to identify the age of cheese, the type of milk used in cheese, the rind, etc. A knitting class to learn how to knit. And for some reason, the San Francisco Giants trophy was, the World Series trophy was at the office. So here are some Dropboxers taking photos with it. At the end of the week, we all get together and we show off what we've built, like this status board. As the company gets bigger, we need to know what are all the projects going on and what is their current status, when's the next milestone, who's working on them, who's responsible. So this status board was something that a team that hijacked the conference room put together. And it's really impressive. Just like with this hackathon, we see what people make in 48 hours. We get to see people build really cool shit. Sometimes it's for Dropbox and for the product, and sometimes it's not. But in 1 week, people can really achieve awesome stuff. And that lumber that you saw a few slides ago actually turned into this, which is a DJ booth. We now have like a DJ stand. Take your mind off that really hard bug you're trying to solve. Go play with Ableton. These three built it during the week. And at the end, we had an award ceremony similar to this one, where we said this was the best hack, the best, et cetera. And we were on a boat, and we did play I'm on a boat while we were there. So we're hiring. If this stuff sounds exciting to you, send your resume to PennApps2013@dropbox.com. We're hiring both full-time and intern roles. And for our award, we have the It Just Works award, which is the most technically impressive hack, but with a really great execution. And that's going to have to go to Hot Cocoa, because I can't imagine the complexity in migrating Objective-C the Objective-C runtime over to Android and re-implementing a lot of the foundation classes and re-implementing a lot of the work that Apple has done to get it to run on Android. And that was done by one person who's actually still in high school. So huge shout out to Hot Cocoa. That was awesome. So thanks a lot for your time.
Thanks, Stephen. Shannon, if you want to give a few words about BainCap Ventures, if anyone from Andreessen or Microsoft is here, you guys should come in line. Otherwise, any sponsors that have other prizes, we'll do those right after.
Thank you. Okay. Woo! All right. Okay, who's still awake? All right, great. Not many responses. Great. So I'm Shannon. I run Startup Academy for Bain Capital Ventures. While I went to Stanford, I am supporting Michigan this weekend because they were rock stars at the last PennApps. So before I go into Michigan, I would love to thank, again, Palak, James, the rest of the PennApps team for putting this event together. the other sponsors who are here, and the judges for making this all happen as well. The reason why I really felt passionate about working with Michigan from PennApps in the fall was just because I loved the school spirit. And I think that, being able to come to an event like this from 13 hours away on a bus is quite impressive. And I would love to work with any other schools who are excited about making events like this happen. So thank you to Michigan for being so awesome. And all right. And I just wanted to include a little bit. Bloomreach has been with us all weekend. And Shri, one of our engineers, unfortunately had to go. But Alyssa here is going to just quickly talk about Bloomreach, which is one of the portfolio companies that Bain Capital Ventures is investors in, and is part of the Startup Academy program, which I'm happy to talk about later.
Hi, so my name's Alyssa, I'm from Bloomreach, and I believe I've met a lot of you here today, so thank you so much for having us. This has been an incredible experience and my first time at PennApps, so I'm looking forward to coming back in the fall. But I don't want to give you too much info because I'm sure you've heard it already, but I'll just leave you on a couple of the areas that we focus in so that you can kind of keep that burning in your brain and reach out to us. And we have some coding puzzles on our site, which I've shared with some of you. Shannon, don't make fun of me. But please check those out to see if you might be interested in the type of work we do. But can I hear a little bit, if you guys are familiar with some of the terms that are popping up around the Silicon Valley that you're hearing about content discovery? Yeah, anyone? Yeah, okay. All right, so web relevancy? Yeah? All right, I'm going to leave you on the sexiest term, which is going to hand it over to Shannon so we can present our award. Who has heard of big data? Woo! Okay, that's me from Bloomreach. So nice having you guys. Here's Shannon to present the award.
Great. Awesome, thank you. So I honestly think that there was, again, too many good projects built here. And our award, we really wanted to give this award to foster analysis of large-scale, publicly available data sets. We all know what Nate Silver did with polls, and while typical hacks are projects, we wanted to focus and recognize processing data APIs. So this team figured out a way to find the best locations to plant trees in Philadelphia and to set up bike racks based on data of crime rates and the lack of tree coverage and areas of bike routes. This is just scratching the surface of what is possible, but we think that there's a lot of hope that there's this kind of data analysis in the future. So we want to present this award to the Urban Sustainability Group.
Where are you guys? Can you stand up?
You guys here?
There you are.
There you go.
Congrats.
Cool. Congrats.
Thanks, Shannon. Now, Dave, if you want to give a brief pitch about Andreessen Horowitz and your prize.
Hello, my name is Dave Jagoda from Andreessen Horowitz. I will keep this extremely brief. Our prize was for the most technically challenging, and the prize goes to Virtual Perspective.
All right, and a couple more of our sponsors who wanted to give pitches aren't here, so I'm just going to mention that the Modus team had a prize for the hack which creates the most connections, and that hack didn't make the top 20, but that hack is Nline. So congrats to the Nline team. Where are you guys? All right, well, they might have left already. That's unfortunate. But regardless, congratulations to them for the hack that creates the most connections. Is any Microsoft representative here? Okay, if not, what we're going to do is we're going to present the top 3 prizes and then finish off with the rest of our sponsored prizes. So if our judges want to come up and present our top 3.
Okay, this is what an unbelievable event. Pulak team, Dining Philosophers, amazing job, incredible event. I'm going to announce the second runner-up, which would be third place, goes to WebTube. Congratulations.
Second place goes to, drumroll, Virtual Perspective. Congratulations.
And the first place award goes to Inventory.
So if the top 3 teams can come up on stage, on stage real quick. Inventory, Virtual Perspective, you guys still here? You want to come up on stage? And WebTube, Nop, you want to come up on stage? We'll take a real quick shot of the winners. Okay, so that's fine. Okay, can you guys get in front of this table right here for the best shot? Yeah, you guys mind getting in front of this table? Just everyone, just taking a photo right there. Good job, guys. Good job. Judges as well, please. Yeah. Woo! All right, awesome job to some really cool hacks and some teams coming from Berkeley, ETH, Zurich, and Penn to represent pretty wide variety of backgrounds into this hackathon. So great job to